Welcome everyone to the what is this? The 31st episode of Social Chatter, I think.
I lost count.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know, but here's the thing: it doesn't matter. 31st, first, it doesn't matter. We enjoy doing these every single week with you, because we want to bring you the latest social media news and tools, and make it really easy for you as a business owner to be able to take this knowledge and then apply it to your business. And what we try to do with that is we try to give you, 3 topics, 3 tools that we think can really help you. And we've got a lot of Facebook updates today. I will tell you that there are some things that happen, for instance, on Twitter and Snapchat and so forth. But the big news is Facebook. And just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Christian Karasevich. My Twitter handle is at CKROKS. I'm the founder of Social Chefs and CEO and founder. And basically, our aim is to help you make sense of social media. Not just tell you about the new stuff that's out there, but how can you put it into practice? So I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Vincent Orlick, and I'm going to put a couple of links in here for everybody as usual. But basically, we put our links to Twitter handles if you want to reach out to us, follow us or so forth. We'd love to connect with you. And also, if you have any questions, you can put those off to the side. You can also put in /Q, or you can send us a tweet with #SocialChatter. I'm just giving you all some links here. So #SocialChatter, and we will actually check those out and respond to them.
Facebook's crazy.
So are you using Facebook Live video right now, or?
I am not.
Okay.
I am Snapchatting because Austin just reminded me that I should Snapchat.
Very nice, very nice. So let's get started with this because we have a lot to cover, and we try to keep these to 30, 45 minutes. So where do you want to start today? We've got, we know we're starting with Facebook. We've got chat bots, we've got Messenger, we got some cool stuff going on with live video. What do you want to start with?
Well, it's all Facebook.
Okay.
It's all Facebook. So let's just start with the conference earlier this week, I guess.
Okay, so Facebook had their F8 conference earlier this week. It was a 2-day conference, I think. Lots of basically, it's an announcement for developers, but also new developments on Facebook. And some of those things actually that came out this week, they announced chatbots. So we'll put that in here. Topic number 1, our Facebook Messenger chatbot.
Huge thing. The chatbots, the automated bots within Messenger, and then some of the examples they were showing, just it feels like every time there's some sort of update for a lot of these platforms, whether it's Facebook, Snapchat, whatever, it's like game changer, changing the game. Like, this is going to change everything. Like, this is a really big deal that most people they're not paying attention to it because it's the developer conference for Facebook, and like us, even people within social media, they're not maybe paying as much attention to it as they would like the Apple event, but this is going to enable a lot of businesses, small businesses to large businesses, utilize Messenger and its 800 million users to the fullest extent for business purposes.
So let's talk about chatbots. Like, what exactly are they? What can you do with them, and how do they help businesses?
Well, I mean, it's automated. It's automated. I mean, name what you can do with them, right? I mean,
give an example. You have an example, maybe? Let's do real world example.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the examples they were showing in the conference was on the stage was where you go on Messenger, and there's a way that when you communicate, you can even communicate. So off of Messenger, you're on Facebook, and then it would automate to take you into Messenger to go like make a choice of buying something, like give you different choices of what you can buy. Or, I mean, there's really kind of unlimited potential with what you can do with it. It's more about how each business is going to utilize it than it is like, well, what's it for? It's really whatever you can develop it for is what it's going to be for, because that's what they're doing with this. They're opening up the API to Facebook Messenger for developers to develop the bots.
Okay.
I don't think it'll take too long. Probably the thing that'll take the longest is the approvals, the approval process. So think about like if you submit something to iTunes, it takes whatever a couple of weeks to get it approved by Apple to go into the iTunes store, iStore.
Okay.
This is, it's the same type of thing for developers that are developing things for Messenger itself specifically.
Okay, so kind of, to kind of help Austin out here, by the way, Austin, does this actually help? And by the way, Treasure Gnome, we'll talk about your question in a minute too, but Austin, did Vincent's recommendation, did that help? Or did you have any other questions on chatbots? So I'll let Austin, wait to hear back from him, but I'll keep going here. So if I was going to use Facebook Messenger chatbots, here's an example. For example, say you want to order flowers. So the current process is I go to a website. I go to a website, I go to a Facebook page, doesn't matter where I go, but basically I'm like, okay, I want some flowers. I click on a link or I do my search for my product. I find what I want. And then I have to go through the painstakingly process of ordering those flowers, like going through the checkout, did their shopping cart work? Sometimes things don't work very well, right? So the benefit to using, in this case, Facebook Messenger chatbots is that you can send a message using this feature. For example, like 1-800-Flowers is a partner of theirs on this, and you can order flowers just by sending a message.
Yeah, customer service. It's customer service, taking order. I mean, they're using the terminology chatbots because it's the developer conference, and I think people, when they hear that, they think just chat in a way, like the Domino's thing. I mean, sort of.
That's an example of it.
That's on Twitter, like a direct example. This is more like if you're a business, you can go to when they come out with it, when they announce it, Facebook's list of developers that are approved. Mm-hmm. You can go and hire someone off that list. It's probably going to be a little pricey, where their stuff gets approved by Facebook to go into the Messenger. But it's basically customer service. If you want to place an order, and you can do it in Messenger, whereas right now you can't. This is a direct way. You click a button to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and as you said, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can apply this. It could be for the e-commerce side. If you remember a few months back, we talked about being able to hire somebody for home improvements. Same type thing. Everything would be done through Messenger, and Facebook's 900 million users, I think, some ridiculous number. But basically, you put this into the service, and then somebody can just message you basically they can just message you, and that will initiate the process versus the initial way of doing things. For example, if I want to go book somebody for home improvement, I have to go to the web. I have to find companies I want to work with. I find somebody I want to work with. What typically happens? I have to call them. I leave a message. They take 2 days to get back to me. But by using Messenger chatbots, I'm able to then send something to this company and then get an immediate response back versus having to go through all that back and forth. I mean, as you mentioned, it's customer service. There's so many different applications you can use this, but I'm really excited about this one. I mean, I think that, it's only been out for a few days, but there's so many possibilities with this. I mean, just with what you can do with this. So awesome.
And it's also has to do with, and now if you look back on some of the changes and updates that Facebook has done over the last year, and especially like centered around Messenger, mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, it's the fact that they made it possible to use Messenger without having a Facebook account. Mm-hmm. Number one, right? The fact that you could make Wi-Fi calls over mm-hmm. Messenger without even needing a phone plan, right? You just have the app. You can call people through Messenger, actually make phone calls. Right. So what'll happen is there'll be a prompt, like you would get a button that says, make a reservation or make a purchase, whatever it is that the call to action. And then from there, it'll push the person on the web. It would push them to the messenger.com site, the mm-hmm. main the browser site, or to the Messenger app itself, which would be, if you don't have it, I'm sure it would prompt you to download the app. And again, you wouldn't need a Facebook account. You would probably just need a phone number to put in there.
Actually, I do want to kind of add something to what you just said. So if you go, for example, I have my Social Chefs brand. If you go to m.me/social chefs, it'll take you to the web version of Facebook Messenger, and you can actually message a page directly. So I'm actually gonna put that in the chat one for everybody. Basically, if you go there, it'll pop up the Messenger feature, and then you can log into your Facebook account at that point, and you can access that from the desktop or mobile or wherever, basically. So it's a bit of a tie-in to that as well, with all of these new updates they've done. So that's those are Messenger chatbots for everybody. I also give you a couple other examples. How you can go on your mobile device and say, hey, what's the weather? You can use Messenger chatbots for that as well to get the weather. A lot of basic information. This also kind of ties into the other. Facebook was kind of looking at building out their own virtual assistant. Basically, this is very similar to that as well. You can have. I think at some point we're going to see all those things kind of converge. So, topic number one for today: Messenger chatbots and how they're going to help automate things on Facebook for you. Topic. So, by the way, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put those in the chat for us, and we'll work to answer them. By the way, while I'm pulling up topic 2, do you want to address Treasure Gnome's question about YouTube live stream? What's the question actually, Treasure Gnome?
I mean, I don't know. Whatever, there's an update. I don't know any more news about YouNow. I mean, that's or whatever's coming to YouTube live stream. I haven't really been looking at it lately.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything new on it yet. I mean, I've heard them talk about it, but I've not seen anything else come out. So, they announced this. It was back in April 8th, so it was a few days ago.
It's coming. Yeah, it's coming. They're using it for. I know that they're using it for Coachella, which is pretty big. That's a pretty big deal. But they announced it. Yeah, they announced it, the fact that it's coming about a week ago, like you said. So I mean, their goal is to compete with Facebook Live. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because I think there's like a user base that uses YouTube and uses Hangouts and that sort of application, and there's another different user that's going to be on Facebook and using Facebook Live, most likely, and it's different audiences. It would be different audiences where the YouTube live stream feels like it would be more of an actual public facing thing, whereas Facebook Live it's connections and it's on Facebook, and you're hoping someone would share it and then it reaches their connections and all that. But I think it's different. I think it's two different things. Like with all of these live streaming platforms, they're different animals. They're for different purposes. Like the YouTube live stream, to me, is more of a rival for, say, Periscope, because it's so outward facing. It's so public facing.
Yeah. No, I'd say it's going to be really interesting because, I mean, we talk about this all the time. It's like it's getting to the point where it's just so quick. Literally, you have a new announcement, and then it's not just like, okay, a couple months later, someone else comes out with something. It's literally like the next week, or someone else is like, okay, like Facebook, for instance, decided, hey, we're just going to come out with a live video. And now they're really dumping a lot of their efforts into that to make it very, very, very a useful feature for their site. So it's going to be really fascinating to kind of see what direction YouTube goes. I don't really, I think YouTube having live streaming makes a lot of sense. I could see them tying it into YouTube channels, obviously starting with music and so forth. But I mean, you don't really.
They've had, I mean, they don't call it live stream, but right. They've had Hangouts. Like Hangouts is live streaming. It's people just don't think of it that way, which is a problem.
Right.
People think of it as like a blab, as people think of blab right now, is sitting in a place and you're holding like a video conference call. I really didn't see, even if I saw people using it in a mobile fashion.
Right.
It wasn't like, it was still like they were at an event and they had a setup. They had like a background and the lighting, and it was a hangout.
Right.
So it was even, they didn't play it that way. They didn't play it the way of the live streaming like Periscope and Meerkat. It was positioned very differently. So for them to now, that's what I was just saying to Austin, like for them to now be just now coming out with YouTube live stream, like, I mean, yeah, they could argue that, well, we're taking the best of what everyone else does, and we wanted to see what can. Well, you're Google. Like, what are you waiting for? you've had some of this technology in place. Like, what are you doing? And the mobile experience on Hangouts for me always sucked anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So I mean, the feature's been there. I, for instance, on my channel, I have the ability to, I can set up my own show and so forth.
Yeah, and there's a live stream on there too.
Right.
But it's different because this is going to be the separate app.
So it'll be interesting to see kind of how this evolves, and maybe if they are, maybe they're a little bit slow to the game, but they're using, maybe they're going to grab some things from the other networks that they're already using and build their own little package.
They blew it though. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's too early to say until we see what it actually looks like in full. But it just feels like all these other things have kind of stolen the thunder. And then maybe down the road, like a year from now, we're all looking at YouTube Now and YouTube live streaming. I might be saying the wrong thing for YouTube Now, but YouTube live streaming, and it'd be like, oh wow, they really own that space now. But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on that. The fact that we kind of have to give them, a little bit of time to kind of see what's going to, play out. But you're right. I mean, they've had their chances, so we'll give it a little time. But we'll talk about it on social chat.
Yeah, and Gordon, there's definitely we don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, what's going on either. They could come out with something crazy and some sort of crazy partnership, and who knows. Yeah.
So I want to talk about topic number 2 actually. Topic number 2, we're kind of tying into Messenger for a couple of things. So topic number 2 is a new way for businesses to for people to connect with your business. So the couple of things that have changed here. So for starters, you may start to see this on your Facebook page. It hasn't rolled out yet to any of the pages I manage, but you're going to be able to now, instead of going to like facebook.com/your username. So that's one thing. They are going to be adding your username at the bottom of right underneath your page title. And that's actually really good because it's easier for people who are following your brand to see how they can connect with your business. Because a lot of times people see a Facebook URL and it's facebook.com/ for instance, social chefs. And then there's a whole bunch of junk on the end. And most people, they don't know. They can't tell, well, okay, do I need the regular full URL or is it facebook.com/ social chefs? Right. So the benefit is this will show now underneath your Facebook page name. And so it'll be easier for people who are going to your site to know exactly which account that they need to follow. They're also, though, adding a couple of other things to this. So as I mentioned, you also get m.me/ your Facebook page name. So you can easily have someone message you on your page without having to, go to your page, click message, go that route, or and so forth. So it's going to make that very easy for customers to be able to get in touch with you. And then the third thing that is also changing with this, by the way, I need a couple screenshots on that, by the way. So the third feature is they're called messenger codes. And messenger codes are actually really neat. So they're like Snapchat codes. Basically snap codes. And,
rip off.
Yeah.
So rip off.
So what you could do now basically with messenger codes is this. So if you go to to get these for your Facebook page, you just go to your Facebook page. And then if you go under, I actually got them yesterday. So if you go under, I think it's under settings. Let me see. Actually, sorry, it's under messages. So if you go to your messages section on your Facebook page, you'll see this weird looking icon. And it's like a partial circle with a bunch of like dots and stuff around it. So if you click on that on your Facebook page, so you go to your Facebook page, click on messages, it's at the bottom, right across from the away button that's there on the left-hand side. But when you click on this, it's going to give you the option to get your messenger code. And what this is, it's pretty simple. it's basically a profile image. And if you go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/social chefs, you will see that I have a messenger code there. Let me see if I can put this in the chat window for everybody. So the benefit here is that, and this is kind of funny, it's basically like QR codes all over again. So let's see if it works.
I just sent you a couple of the screenshots too. I don't know if they're in there, but
okay. So you can sort of see it here, actually. So off to the left, awesome. Yes, that's actually really handy. I need screen sharing on Blab. But if you can see here, there's these little blue dots going around my Facebook page. Now, what these are basically are, once somebody puts this on their Facebook page, you then open Messenger, and if you want to connect with a business or anyone who's got this on their account, all you have to do is open Messenger. What is it? You go to settings, I think, right? So you open Messenger, you go to the settings tab. I don't actually have the scan part, but then there will be a feature there that'll say scan code, and it'll give you the option to scan the code at that point and access that page. So another really good way for, or really easy way for customers and fans and whatnot to connect with your business. So couple of takeaways from this: if you're giving any sort of presentations, if you're going to, if you're at, if you got door signs or whatever at your business, you could put these, you could theoretically print these out and put them on your door and have it where people can scan them. You just have to make sure you tell them what they are. Because a lot of times people, I've seen a lot of crazy ways people market their Facebook page at their business, and they're not very, some of them are like, it's like a crude like mock-up, or like it's a faded Facebook logo or something, So the benefit of this, you take your mobile phone, you scan them, and now you can easily connect with that business.
I need to say something about these.
Yeah, sure.
I think these are going to fail.
Why is that?
I just think it's going to fail. Because,
why do you think so?
Because it's not, number one, it's not an original idea. And the reason it's not an original idea is because no one wanted any of these codes until Snapchat started using QR codes for connecting on their platform, and made it like the cool way to do things, sort of. And even at that rate, people don't always use them now. And we've even seen Snapchat add username URLs, and you can just click on a URL and go to someone as their username. I don't think people are going to use these. I don't know. I mean, if you're a business and you put this up in your window, right? You download it and you put it up in your window,
right?
You're like, here's how to follow us. The people that use Facebook they're not going to do this. They're not going to do it. At least if it does happen, it's going to take a long time. I think, my stupid personal opinion, right? People that are on Facebook, they're just going to go and they're going to type in your page, or they're going to check in. People sometimes still check in. They still check in. They just don't use Foursquare. They use Facebook. They put it in a post, and do a status update and do a check-in that way. And then when you check in, if you don't like the page, it prompts you if you want to like the page, right? So, I mean, these are all additional ways. I just feel like the general population that uses Facebook regularly, that is going to bother to like a business's page, I don't know that they're going to use this.
So I have an idea. This I don't know how this would ever scale, but those new buttons from Amazon, the ones where you can order. Okay. So just, hear this out. So, we take these codes, we put them everywhere. Nobody wanted QR codes, for instance, when they were out. Like you said, Snapchat ones are very popular. Why not just have businesses have a button that can somehow be pressed and, be great. I don't know how you would link the two together, but have it where, maybe it could connect via your phone somehow, wirelessly almost, or, Bluetooth, whatever technology, and have it where hey, I push the button and it automatically has me like your page or something, versus having to get it out, type your phone, having to get it out, scan your phone, having to do anything else. Make it seamless. And to me, there seems like there's a lot of steps here. I do like the fact that you can include it in marketing materials. That's a lot easier. Someone can sit there and take your PowerPoint, away, when they're at a conference or something.
True. But I don't know. I mean, I guess, and the statistics, the analytics will certainly bear out one way or another what happens, what people do.
It's all about the data.
Yeah. I feel like they look at it as, well, it's working on Snapchat, So let's do it, for businesses here. And then I don't know, I might have missed this part. I'm sure I did, but if I want to scan that,
right,
like on Snapchat, the code's on your camera roll, you press it, and it automatically hooks up, integrates, and scans it for you, and adds that person as a friend, right? With this, how am I just taking a picture of it? So if I walk to the business and I take a picture of it, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, you basically have to open so here's the thing. I think you and I talked about this. I have part of the equation right now.
Yeah.
I have the codes and they're on my Facebook page, but I don't have the Messenger app to be able to scan them. So, or sorry, it's not that I don't have the app. It's actually not enabled on my account yet. So I would think that would be the way that it would work. I mean, you have to, it's a little confusing. You have to launch the app. You have to,
See, I don't know, because if they took that part from Snapchat too, then right. I'm thinking that maybe it's just in the camera roll, and then you just hit the picture and that you open the camera roll. From like Facebook, you do add by code or something. I mean, right. I don't know the delivery system. I'm not sure, but either way, it's still going to be something that is foreign, really, to like the typical Facebook user.
Absolutely.
You scan it in Messenger, Kelly, but where do you scan it? So you open Messenger and then you do what? You take a picture? You go to take a picture or send a picture? Like how do you?
Why don't you actually try it for my Facebook page, because I have the icons on my page.
Yeah, well, I mean I do too, but let me try yours.
I'd love to say I could scan it, but the problem is I can't scan it because it doesn't. I don't have the feature enabled to scan it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if I go to your page, it's in your profile photo, and then it just grabs it like a reader. But I'm opening up Messenger, right?
So
and,
go to
and what? Go
to people,
right?
And then I think you have
scan code. Right. Okay, that's right. I have that. Okay, so you have to go to people, do scan code, hold your camera up, and then it comes up with. I scanned it and it came up with your page information.
Right.
And I already like it.
Right.
So I tapped on it. I can view the Facebook page.
It's pretty simple. It's a QR code reader. By the way, the other neat feature that we kind of haven't touched on yet with this is you also get custom Messenger greetings as well now. So for example, when you scan that, I think it said at the bottom, like, "Hi, Vincent. Thanks for, getting in touch with us on Messenger." I think you saw that actually, but you can go into your page's message settings. Sorry. Yeah. And you can make those adjustments there as well.
Yeah.
So there's a greeting section actually.
I still don't see people doing it. I don't see people adopting it at a huge rate, and doing that on Facebook specifically. I don't know. I don't see it happening. Even though it's in the profile photo, and you can you click on the profile photo, you have to scan it with the reader, and then you can hit to like the page. I mean, there's steps. There's too many steps, I think, for people that are on Facebook generally to want to do it, when all they have to do is type in the name of the page and hit like.
Yep.
It's less steps. And that's what it's all about right now. The less obstacles you have in people's way, the more I think it succeeds.
Absolutely. It needs to be frictionless. I mean, it doesn't, things these days, I mean, you can't just, it's almost like we went back in time almost to where like to restart using QR codes.
Well, because it worked for Snapchat. Snapchat's growing so hugely, and it makes sense on Snapchat because they made it make sense for them. They made it cool, They made it cool. Like they put a color in it, and they made it so you can customize it. So it's not just a QR code, a crappy QR code with lines and dots. It's the profile photo, but it's got the QR code in it, so it looks cool for a lot of people. And with this, it's just like it's just like a bad ripoff that I don't know that people are really going to use it.
I completely agree. There has to be a reason why they did this. It has to tie into bigger picture that they're doing. But I think that for now, I mean, I agree with you, Walt, you and Kelly. I mean, they're nah.
Well, I think it ultimately it's going to help grow. What they're thinking is it's going to help grow the Messenger app even more.
So they have 900 million users.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll keep helping it grow.
Yeah. Well, because they probably feel like, well, the Facebook Messenger app by itself has that many. Now, how many of those are the same people that have a Facebook account?
Right.
I don't know what that number is, but I know that there's a lot of people that have a Facebook account that refuse to download the Facebook Messenger app because they're scared of it, because that app, for whatever reason, they think that it's going to take over their phone and open up their camera whenever it wants, and Facebook can spy on them or listen to them. I mean, that was literally what people said when they updated the privacy agreement for the Messenger. When, again, if you go back to those updates, it's clearly where that was going. This is like a year or 2 years ago when they updated the terms of service for the privacy. Well, now we're seeing part of that reason, or maybe the whole reason, was because they needed to have access. They needed access for the phone number to be part of the Messenger app, so that they could make it agnostic of the Facebook app itself as a platform, and then have a way for people to contact each other, and then dip into, as we've talked about before, really at this point, why anyone pays for a phone plan,
right?
When you don't have to.
No.
You almost don't have to. Like, it's almost to the point with the Wi-Fi being everywhere. If you have Wi-Fi, you have a smartphone, most everything you can do on Wi-Fi, even phone calls, whether it's through Skype, Facebook Messenger, other apps. They also own WhatsApp, that and Instagram, obviously, but WhatsApp has 800 million users or some ridiculous number around the world. So Facebook, so Gary Vaynerchuk said that, right? Like, Facebook is succeeding, or have they already, where AOL didn't, in building the layer on top of the internet, so that there's the internet, but you don't need to go here to these websites and platforms. Right. You just go to Facebook and Facebook Messenger. It's all in Facebook, and you never have to leave, which we all know is like, that's always been Facebook's ultimate goal since almost the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. So I gotta say, there were some really, really good announcements. I mean, from this conference, in addition to all those Messenger updates, by the way, one of the other ones that came out, I have two other things for us today. One of the that came out was Facebook Live Video API. And, for those of you,
they showed the camera.
Yes. So for those of you who've been following the last few weeks, Facebook Live Video, they announced it for profiles. It came out shortly after that for pages. And then last week, it was available for groups and events. I actually did a Facebook Live video last night from my Facebook group. I think you checked that out. And it was actually a lot of fun. But they are now expanding them to, which is kind of fascinating. They're actually now expanding them to cameras and whatnot, like drones and so forth. So people will be able to, for instance, if you're like a verified account, you'll be able to live stream from that device. And they're tying it not just into that, but depending on like your level at Facebook, like if you've got, like I said, a verified account, you do get certain access to things to be able to tap into Facebook and use these devices. So it's really, really, really neat.
And let's also set the tone for some of the folks that just came in. I mean, if you're not with the F8 conference, I mean, it's a developer conference. So while they've made it similar to an Apple event at this point, the way they present things, they've taken that model for the actual event itself. But it's for developers. It's focused on developers. While they have it's some consumer, the user will benefit. It's aimed at the developers and talking about the APIs, meaning that developers can now build things, build apps, build integrations using the API for Facebook, to integrate with Facebook directly to Messenger and to Facebook Live. So that's big. I mean, the live streaming part, the fact that people can now, like GoPro can now tap in and make GoPro cameras integrated with Facebook Live. Again, it's just the next logical step to growing that functionality, growing the live streaming functionality. We've, a lot of us have heard about Zuckerberg. He's obsessed, quote unquote, with making Facebook Facebook Live video huge. So, and it makes sense. Look, the guy's been right more often than not. He's one of those types of people. So I'm betting on him. I'm willing to bet on him. Thanks everyone for joining in here. Hi, Marisa.
So I have to say, this is going to be, it's not just about, having somebody be like a celebrity, for instance, and being able to go live on Facebook now. I mean, this is empowering every single person who has an account, who has a group, who has a page, who has an event, to be able to use live video as part of that strategy.
Yeah.
If you're a business, for example, I mean, there's so many things you can do with live video now. By enabling the live video API, they're going to let you not just stream from your smartphone, but also potentially tie that into other video and audio sources, for example.
Anything. Yeah. I mean, really anything that, I mean, I can see, can't you see any camera? Like now cameras, it's going to be within 2 years, the DSLR cameras are going to have, like, the good ones, the really good ones are going to be standard integration, API integration with these live stream, with Periscope and Facebook Live. They're going to have to.
Yeah, I mean, and the cool thing is because you can use any kind of camera. I mean, it'll have to be some sort, it might be a little module, for instance, like for some of the older cameras and whatnot, but it's going to be really neat to see the direction this goes. I mean, because I have to say, when I did this last night, I was using, my phone to do my Facebook Live video in my group. It was fun doing it, but I was over there like this, do I have this right? And by being able to have like a normal setup, in this case, I've got a webcam right now that I'm working off of. I mean, it's great because I can actually, it's great because I don't have to worry about, let me get my mobile device right. Because most people, when they use a mobile device, they're not sure how that stuff kind of works. So it's going to be really good to have the ability to expand this to other things.
It's huge. I mean, the fact with the groups and the events update last week, between that and then the ability for outside companies and platforms to integrate the live streaming capability to their products and platforms is, I mean, Facebook is clearly trying to take over live streaming, the whole space by the end of this year or sooner.
I mean, I can even see, here's another way I could see this being used. Let's say let's look at the NFL partnership we talked about last week. I would love to, I could see this with pretty much any sport, but you could now have drones, for example, that are live streaming the event. Instead of, for instance, of somebody having to pay for like a package or something, like they could, this gives a business, the ability to create, different moments, different ways to kind of like introduce things or, let people view things.
Well, how about this? How about something as niche, not small, but niche as high school sports? Like if you can broadcast on Facebook Live using a Facebook Live enabled integrated DSLR camera made by Canon or whatever.
Yeah. Well,
the school can buy a camera for a couple grand, right? And then now they have this camera, and now they can broadcast without having to pay. They're not paying a network. It's on Facebook, right?
This is going to be a disruptor, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, it has again, the number of applications that it has is enormous. It's anything you can think of. Anything you can think of that you want to do.
I'm actually really fascinated to see what happens with this as far as how this affects TV. Because, for example, right now, people are, they're going and recording their shows and whatnot. They're watching back on TiVo or whatever technology they're using nowadays, YouTube Red. But the interesting thing will be people will be able to when we start seeing movies, for instance, that are streamed movies, like as they're happening and unfolding, are people going to, the recording process, like instead of let me record this 6 months earlier and let me then distribute this, a year later or something like that. Will they be able to, possibly do that as well? Make this basically live TV. So this is huge announcement, absolutely huge announcement.
Yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton. So be that as it may, there's some other stuff going on too.
Yeah, and then so the last other big news from F8 is a new rights manager. And this is actually, kind of, it's not like huge. It's important for you if you publish a lot of video, but it's a rights manager. Basically, what Facebook is now doing is, as you're publishing more and more video, this is actually neat because it's going to help you control your content better. So basically, it's going to give you a set of admin tools, some workflow tools that you as a publisher and a creator can use to manage and protect the video that you're creating on Facebook. This is actually kind of fascinating. They rolled this out. I kind of expected this to come with, the introduction of live video, because we're creating now. We're going to start creating, obviously, more and more content. But I wasn't expecting them to have a tool out so quickly. By the way, Josh, Vincent, I've heard about the Alberta thing you're talking about as well.
I know you have.
Yeah,
I know you have. No, I was asking Josh because he said that actors and YouTube stars are teaming up and making shows, and it's all headed towards the whole influencer marketing, grassroots influencers. It's the really smart people like Adam Carolla and Bill Simmons, and I'm trying to think who else, like Al Roker's similar thing where Chris Hardwick from Talking Dead, right? He's doing the same thing where they're smart enough where they have a big enough brand.
Yeah,
it's not a huge brand maybe, but some of them are, but they have a big enough brand where they can bring in other influencers and grow their syndication, grow their network. But as far as the rights thing, it's what YouTube has had for ever, because all they've dealt in is video, so they had to have that for copyright protection and all that type of stuff, the rights protection. So it makes sense. I'm not surprised by that. I didn't even think about like on Facebook, but it makes sense. This is their direct response to everyone. Like who was taking the hit? Was it Tyrese? Tyrese was one of the people. There's a couple like celebrities that and sites that they basically like hijack other videos that are really popular, and they hijack them from some place where it's already kind of viral, then they post them on Facebook as native video, like it's like they're putting up the video, and then because of their already established audience, it actually does go viral to a point. So it's there. That was a big issue recently. It came up a lot when people were talking about video on Facebook and what some people were doing to take advantage of the system. So this should eliminate that. Although we'll see, because on YouTube, and I won't say eliminate. I shouldn't say eliminate. That's a bad word. This should assist in curbing that, because even on YouTube, you see stuff that looks like, oh my God, how is that not a copyright infringement?
Right. So this is actually one thing. I've done a fair amount of work with YouTube, and so as far as YouTube's they have a very sophisticated comparison engine. It's really, really, really good. But what you typically will find a lot of times is people will take a video and they will, you're still going to have your manual controls over that, reporting stuff. But what you also have is people will change the pitch of the video. They will change, a slight adjustment to audio and so forth. And YouTube will actually then, they might not pick it up the first time, but they might pick it up on the go around. But it's very, very, very sophisticated. In a nutshell, this whole rights management thing is not just a way for you to basically see where your content, like if people are using your content, and it's a way to help you protect the content. But at the same time, there's also some really cool tools. Like there is a comparison piece to this. You can also identify, create rules about how videos can be used. That's actually really neat too. It kind of reminds me of Vimeo a little bit, because they have control over, you can put the domain name and say, okay, this video is only available on a domain name. So if somebody tries to download it or something to that effect, they can't, they can download it, but it won't play, and so forth. So that's going to be a really, really, really good tool. You can also whitelist pages and profiles to let them use your material, which is kind of neat. So again, I have to say, kind of driving this point home, it's going to really come down to you need, depending, it doesn't matter what size brand you are, what size business you are, you're going to need a very good social media manager, somebody who knows your content inside and out, that's really plugged into your company, and not just have like, let me offload my social media activities. I mean, because if you're going to make Facebook marketing a bigger part of your strategy, and I think, honestly, I think you should, because this is, these are some really big announcements that they've made, and I think they're going to really shake things up. You need somebody that can go in there that knows, what all you're sharing, what all you're doing, that understands where that content needs to be going, versus pulling in somebody that, might be an intern or might be very new. It's good to have somebody managing your content, but a lot of times they kind of just do things because they think those are what you want for results. And it's like, that's not, that could actually make your brand look bad if you're using content you're not supposed to be using, and so forth. In the examples you gave. Yeah. So it's kind of a little bit of a dull subject, but I think it's an important one to actually talk about because it ties into the live video from this week. By the way, I just have one last topic for everybody, and then I'm not going to touch on this too much, only because I'm actually going to be talking about this on Monday of next week. But basically, I'm going to talk about this topic, and then we're going to jump into some 3 quick tools. So this last topic, do it.
Good.
Last topic is actually Facebook Instant Articles. And I almost forgot about this one because in all the hoopla from this past week, Instant Articles were rolled out. And you can get to them by going to instantarticles.fb.com. And by the way, Matt, while I'm doing this, Matt brings up a good point. What's going to happen when Facebook owns all the resources and people?
You mean they don't? They don't already?
Well, I have to say, I don't really see that happening. I think that they're going to, you see this shift with a lot of companies. You see people, you see one company come out with something and then the other one has to try to innovate on the other, and so forth. People that are at companies, people can easily be swayed to go to another company, whether it's money or whether it's, offering them a better opportunity, a better position.
It's all cyclical.
Yeah. So at first it might seem like they own everything, but at some point it's going to rebalance itself. At some point,
it may not be in our lifetime. It may be. It may be. I mean, look, we all know things move fast, right? But Facebook right now, it's funny because they're kind of treading water with some of the stuff and leading the way, or starting to lead the way with other things. So they're treading water with the Snapchat similar features, right? Because they're copying a lot of what Snapchat has done. A ton of everything that Snapchat has had in place for a year or longer, Facebook now has, except for some of the filters when you do live video. Although they're even moving towards that, after buying Masquerade, the app Masquerade, and now you'll be able to do the funny faces, but slow motion and, backwards motion and all that type of stuff. Who knows? But Matt just said, as a business owner trying to market musicians, a ton of money on Facebook. Yeah, man. I mean, here's the thing. When you say a ton, it's all relative, but there's a lot of people that are able to market, and there's certain ways that they're doing it. They don't spend a ton of money. So it's kind of, I don't know. It depends on how you're doing it. Christian is really smart with a lot of that stuff with Facebook ads and all that. So I don't know if you want to talk to him at some point. There's not a pitch. I'm just stating for a fact. Christian knows what he's talking about with that stuff.
So I actually know Matt. Matt and I chatted for.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say, here's the thing. And I just mentioned this to Matt, but if you're spending a lot of money on, depending on the industry you're in, first of all, if you're trying to, really, if you find you're spending too much money, first of all, you may want to reevaluate that, but you do have to look at the fact that Facebook has a ton of active users. I think it's
It's 1.5 billion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, as of the conference, they stated 1.55. So it's grown by 500,000.
Huge audience of active users. I mean, that's amazing. And, it's going to cost money to advertise there, but think about it like this. If you were to go somewhere else, where would you go? Where would you go to have that kind of audience? You have, you'll end up spreading your efforts out across a number of other networks, which that's not bad, but, if Facebook's right there, you should tap into that. Overall, if you're working with musicians, it also depends on the audience you're trying to reach. You in your case are going to want to have a very engaged audience, and that might mean adjusting, your strategy of what you're currently doing, because it is going to cost you money. But if, as Vincent mentioned, like if you have people that are, you have people that are not spending a ton of money, and they don't have to because they've kind of found that formula that works for them. So, so that's my recommendation for you. And Matt, you and I can chat more offline if you'd like to.
Yeah.
So let's see. I just want to read a couple questions here. So, so for instance, Saluda,
Georgia.
Okay. I kind of wish they put the names, or let me hover over that or something.
I know you have to hover.
But
visitors to the site.
In your case, like, what are you doing to get that? For example, sorry by the way for mispronouncing your username.
Well, dude, you know what? Without going too deep into detail about it, because we could do that for hours. It depends, and I think a lot of people that are in here probably already know this, right?
Right.
There's so many different factors, and it's all about testing, and you're testing. Not only are you testing who you're reaching, who you're targeting, you're testing what's in the ad, what's in the graphic, what's in the text, how much money to spend per this many people.
Mm-hmm.
Are you targeting just your followers of your page? Mm-hmm. Are you targeting non-followers? Are you targeting custom audiences, people that you are not connected to on Facebook?
Right.
People that just visit your website. There's so many different factors, and unless you're running like all those different campaigns, you're not going to know until you do it. You're just not going to know until you do it.
And by the way, Matt, one thing, I was just reading through your, hold on, let me find your comment. Okay. So, in your case, like you may have to go out into the real world and connect with some of those people, but you also, you can't, I would say definitely, you don't want to exclude everyone. Say, I just have to, go do all this stuff in person, because yes, in person's great. It will help you get along, faster potentially with some of those people. But you also might want to look at some of the other mechanisms you have in place, because you might be in the industry where going offline is going to work for you, but you want to have some things online to bring people back. For instance, some of the content that you're sharing,
the inbound marketing, inbound marketing side,
doing something to build like a custom audience, for instance, based off the fact somebody visited your website, through a Google search or something to that effect.
Yeah.
That way, you have, look at it like this. You have instead of putting everybody into one pot, you have multiple pots, that you're working with, and this one's doing this thing, and this one's doing its own thing, and this one's doing its own thing, and they're all contributing together to your business. So you might be bringing in more in person, but your online stuff is working for you, for instance, while you're meeting with people. So
yeah. And the thing is, Matt, not to belabor this too much, because I know we got the tools we want to talk about, but I just bought. Oh wait, Snapchat GeoFilters for music festivals. The point of, okay, well, cool. That's cool. That's a good way to go to. Snapchat is definitely a good place to be if your audience is there. I'm a huge believer in that, and the GeoFilters are really easy and relatively inexpensive, depending on the factors involved of how long you have them up for, where they're going to be, all that. I love GeoFilters on Snapchat. Love them. For branding, for building awareness, all that stuff. But keep in mind that if you're not doing that inbound marketing and you're not bringing people in, like you need to spend some money to make money. You know that, you're a business person. It's it's getting it out there. It's getting it in front of the people in their time, using the most powerful platform, which, maybe Facebook, it's the most powerful and the best way to target and all that stuff. But maybe that's not for you. That's not the best one. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's part of it. But then maybe the Snapchat GeoFilters between that and having your Snapchat account that you're snapping on and putting trackable URLs for people to screenshot and then go to find you. I mean, maybe that's going to be the magic mix for you. So it's totally dependent, and you have to try different things out to see. Not everything, but probably in the music space specifically, there's a live feed element. There's absolutely a live streaming element that you're going to want to take advantage of, because you can show, different things backstage, or, I mean, depending on what your business is, what you're trying to do with reaching musicians. There's so many different elements of that people want to see with music, whether it's concerts or bands or singers in particular. There's just a lot of different parts to that you can take advantage of with a lot of these different types of platforms. So anyway, we should get to the tools.
So I wanted to just quickly touch on instant articles.
Oh, instant articles. Sorry.
So real quick on instant articles. So Facebook, and as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking about these next week at Social Media Marketing World. But basically, instant articles, what they are in a nutshell, they were available for just very strict publishers. Now Facebook on the 12th, which was like Tuesday, I think, they basically have rolled them out to everyone. And I will say this, a lot of people are looking at it, they don't understand instant articles, but what instant articles are, instead of going to Facebook and clicking a link that someone shared and being dumped off to their mobile site that somebody has designed, what instant articles are, they're basically adding, like, you know how you have open graph text on Facebook or on your website for like pulling images for Facebook and Twitter and so forth when things are shared. What you're basically doing is you're putting some additional code on your site. It's going to help optimize your content for Facebook. So fast forward. So I share something on Facebook and it's in the news feed. Previously, when you clicked it, it was really slow to load my article based on my website and all that sort of stuff. What Facebook is doing is they are creating basically like a fast formatted version for Facebook, so that I'm not going off to your website, but the benefit is that your content is going to load faster. It's going to keep people, one, on Facebook. It's going to keep them engaged. They've done some studies. They found that they are very, very, very successful so far with the brands that have been using them. More people are reading the content. More people are sharing the content. And so it's actually, so that's what they are. So it's not like I have to go, oh, I have to create a blog and, oh, I have to create another version for Facebook. I'm just adding in essentially the code that Facebook needs to be able to have access to it. So I did give you guys a link if you guys want to go sign up for it. I am talking more about this on, on Monday of next week. And I'm actually, I'm going to give you guys a quick little plug here, but I am going to be talking about this. So if you do want to actually watch my chat that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to give you guys a link because if you're not going to be traveling, I'll be in California. You can get the, I think they have like a virtual pass that you can get. And so I'll just give you guys a quick link.
And if anyone wants to just follow, we're both going to be at that conference next week. It's the biggest social media focused conference of the year. And that's the hashtag that just dropped in there. If you want to follow along, I mean, it's a social media conference, so people are going to be using the hashtag on social media for like crazy. It'll be trending. I can't imagine it won't be trending for most of the time that we're there.
Yeah, and I would say this. I mean, you will probably get some information from people that are going to be using the hashtag, but what they're not going to be doing likely is most likely will not be streaming any of the sessions.
Right.
Through live video and so forth. So
well, and plus that virtual ticket gets you access to the sessions afterwards, to the recordings. You get it for a year to the slides, not just the slides, but the actual recordings.
Yeah.
The audio.
So super handy. So if you do want to, learn more about, I'm actually going to be talking about Facebook Notes and Facebook Live Video. If you want to learn about either one of those, feel free to pick up a virtual pass. I think they're discounted right now. So again, that doesn't just get access to my session, it gets access to all the sessions. I think there's like 100 plus sessions. So,
but if you can ever get there, if you're in this world at all, and you can ever get there, Highly recommend it. I've been lucky. Christian, have you been every year? You've been most years at least, right?
I've been just about every year.
Yeah. I as much as I possibly can, I'm not going to miss it. That's if I can only go to one per year, that's the one I'm going to every year.
So I'm going to get into some tools real quick. I got 3 quick tools for everybody. And so we'll start with tool number 1. So I'll let Benson, actually, I'll talk about the tools, I guess. But
which one? What's the first one?
There was actually the unofficial Snapchat button. And this is actually tying into Product Hunter that we talked about last week. So
you found this on Product Hunt.
Yeah. So I wanted to, I wanted to highlight this because I think that it's important to, one, it ties into the, social media, but also I think at the same time it ties into, the tool that we talked about last week. So last week we talked about a tool called Product Hunt. What it does is it lets you, basically helps you identify books, podcasts, new tools, and so forth, or not new tools, but unofficial tools, basically in most cases, things that aren't things that, for instance, Snapchat didn't release. In this case, it's a button to let you add Snapchat to your blog or your website. Very handy. And so that's tool number 1 for today. So if you are if you're a business and you have Snapchat, or you have a Snapchat account, you might want to add this to your website. That way you can get people to follow your account.
It's basically just taking really anybody could kind of make this for themselves. This is just a nice, easy way to have one on your site. It's the one thing I thought of at first was like, well, Snapchat may not like this, but really all it is just it's taking your username, it's making a hyperlink embedded into like a widget, that there's no reason why they wouldn't. It's driving traffic to help build your followers. So as a business, let me say this, as a business, it's a good thing because you want to build up your friends, your contacts, your followers on Snapchat as a business. As a personal thing, it's the worst thing you can do on Snapchat from personal experience. I can tell you because I've been getting destroyed for the last week or so is people like begging for, hey, go follow me or go give me hearts in this app that ties into Snapchat and it has a leaderboard and stuff. Like the people that just follow you and then you don't know them from you never met them, you never talked to them, you never followed them or anything. They just found you in this other place and then they follow you and they want you to, they're begging you to go do something for them. It's the worst. So don't do that. Anyone's in here and anyone that uses Snapchat can vouch for me. I'm sure you agree. It's like you hate when people do that. Just ask for something out of nowhere. It's kind of general on social media. That's crappy, but especially with Snapchat.
Yeah, so you do have to keep that in mind, by the way. So that's tool number 1 for today. Tool number 2 is a neat one. And by the way, this is not. I'm not typing this wrong. Okay, so I'm not typing this wrong. It's actually a tool called Missing Letter. And this is a pretty neat little tool. So what it does is you can put in a link to a blog post and you can link your social accounts. Awesome. What will happen is when you put in a new article, it's basically going to create unique social content for you. And then you can review the content they give you and basically set up a drip campaign for a year. Now it's free for 1 blog with 1 campaign per week, $10 a month for 2 blogs, 4 campaigns per week for social profiles. And you can also tie in some of your past articles. And there's also some branding, obviously. But if you jump to the $40 a month one, which is the business plan, you can customize things. You get your own link shortening service. You can create your own schedule. It's actually pretty neat.
You know what? I didn't look at that before we did this show.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it now. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. That's a really great idea. That is a really great idea, service, especially for, like, we always try to relate this to small businesses, right? I mean, it's not so great for, the person that's a social media manager that works for a business, although they could certainly use it for the companies that they manage. But I mean, that's essentially that's part of what someone that you bring on to do that type of thing should be doing. Is basically what that's doing is setting up an automatic buffer
Mhm.
buffering for you automatically. Like you write the post and then, okay, here, go spread it around.
Right.
But it's strategic. It sounds like there's some, again, second week in a row, I'm going to quote George W.
Mhm.
Strategery. There's some strategery involved. I love that word. I love whenever Will Ferrell always says that. But yeah, that's really solid. What do you think about this? Is it like, are you a fan of that?
I like the idea of it. I mean, I really
Yeah.
do. I think that it's different because it's not like your normal way of people who are sharing content.
Right.
So I like that. The only thing that I'm a little concerned with, I guess, with all of this is there's a fair number of high cost on all of these. I mean,
well, this one is only like, well, for one blog it's free.
One blog it's free, but you get one campaign per week.
Okay. Really, when you think about it, for a small business,
I mean,
are they even writing one blog a week? Number one, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for a business, that's pretty doable.
Yeah. So I mean, in that case, you're absolutely right. I mean, if it is, if I am putting out one piece of content a week, it's perfect. Start with a free account.
Yeah.
You're doing more than that, 4 blogs a week, and you have other social profiles you want to tie into this. $10 a month. I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, it's $120 a year, but you do have to keep in mind that all those costs do add up as you.
It does. But here's the thing: if you're,
but it will save you time.
Yeah, and money too, because if you're paying someone to do it for you, mm-hmm. I mean, say you're a small business and say you're super committed, which means you're writing one blog a week. Mm-hmm. Right? That is like, in the world of small business, if you're an owner of a small business and you can write one blog a week, that is amazing commitment.
Uh-huh.
Right? So say you're in that camp and you have someone that you're paying a few $100 a month to manage all your social media. Mm-hmm. Or you don't have anyone, but you're paying $50 a month for buffer. Mm-hmm. So you can do it yourself. Mm-hmm. So this is like, I mean, in general, what's the best thing for you to share like that anyway on a strategic level? It's your content, your blog content, if you're writing a blog. So to be able to do that and then have this service buffer it out, mm-hmm. for how much? What was it?
$40 a month for 5 blogs. It's $10 for 2 blogs, $40 for 5 blogs.
So does that mean, so for $10 for 2 blogs or free for 1 blog, that means that for a month or for a year, it'll do it? Like, it's just for the year. If you only have 1 blog, you can do it for free forever. That's the freemium.
Yeah, I mean, look at it like this. It's blogs, but then it also breaks it down to campaigns and mm-hmm. social profiles. So for example, if I have 1 blog and I want to publish 1 article, the free one gives you 1 campaign per week.
Right. And
then you can tie in 1 social profile.
Right. So for the extra money, for the extra $40 or for $40 a month, that's service, you know what I mean? Like, that's for content marketing purposes, as far as building the piece that you're going to promote or get out there to the world for $40 a month. That's worth it. That's really worth it. And then that frees you up, or whoever manages your social, it frees them up to then use the channels like Twitter to communicate with people, mm-hmm. right, on a regular basis and to interact. Right. So they don't have to worry about, we wrote this blog post, I have to make sure I schedule it for today, tomorrow, blah, 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 7 times this week, 8 times this week, and get it out there.
Right, because that actually, I mean, I will say that, I mean, it takes time to schedule content.
Yeah, and Matt's right, yeah, plugins for WordPress, absolutely, you have to tweak them. This one, I mean, you have to set it up. You have to set this up too. But I think this one is like the WordPress stuff I've used, and you really have to go in and mess with it. Mm-hmm. It's not just the scheduling, it's the excerpts and all that stuff. With this one, I think I'm reading it. Like I said, I just saw it just today. They come up with the content. Mm-hmm. So they're saving you all that time of having to create the tweets mm-hmm. and create the posts that go along with the blog post.
Yep.
And you get to review it, it said in there. So, I mean, that's It's another platform that's going after our jobs, basically. That's what it is.
Well, here's the thing. It's sort of is, but it isn't. Like
Right, it's a half of our job.
If you look at how things are kind of working these days, people that are trying to, like, if you're managing channels, it's not just about everybody who manages channels. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, number of years, and every channel that you manage is different for every company. Some companies are like, hey, we want you to, we want you to do something with our blog, and we want you to do a social post. Other people are like, hey, we just want you to manage social channels. And, when you get into that, there's a lot to them.
Yep.
It's not just for instance, some companies, they have other people write the tweets, and all you're doing is managing the channel, like posting and, basically, you're directing. You're almost like a social media coordinator versus a social media manager and whatnot. And so you kind of have, these tools are going to be very helpful with that. Because it can take a long time just to sit there and schedule content. And then, in most cases, people are on overload. They're on overload to the point where they've spent all this time trying to create, they're not creating any content. All they're doing is scheduling stuff people have already created. And then they have to, spend the time learning the tool. And then they have to spend the time actually go and interact, with people and engage. And by the time they get done scheduling, it's just, it's a vicious cycle. So in a way, this actually gets you off the hamster wheel, of content creation for social media. So it's actually pretty good. So, and by the way, Matt, good point. Yeah, the more automation tools that come out, easier it will be to dominate the market. I think on one hand, yes, I absolutely agree with that. But I think at the same time, the bigger issue is you have a lot of people that are jumping into this that are thinking automation is the key to everything. And that's, and that's something that, it's hard to break people of that when they start automating things. They think that, hey, I'm just going to automate everything that I do. And, I'm on social media. And then they start pitching to other people, hey, I can do your social media, manage your social media accounts because, I have this huge following and because I've automated things too much.
Right.
And, in a way it presents a false impression, I guess, to most, people who go to do business with those individuals, because they think that, they're getting one thing and they're really just getting a bunch of automation, and that's not going to be the answer. So good point. It definitely is one of those things that, personalization is going to be key. And that's the key thing with your audience too. If you have an audience that is, if you've built an engaged audience, that's how you're going to get, your most bang for your buck out of social.
Right.
You don't have to have a huge audience. It's how engaged all those people are, with you.
And by no means, I definitely I'm not of the belief of automation is the way to go for every single thing, but that it's absolutely key to, if you're doing it right, part of what you need to be doing includes automation, because it does free up that time. Like certain things are going to happen for the posts, and you need to have that. You need to have regular things happening to free you up to do the other really even more important things. But in the end, you do need to use these channels as distribution channels. Also, that's how you're distributing the content, and then you're interacting with people once they receive the content, once they see it, once they're exposed to it. So, there's so many elements to it, but I think this could be a tool. This could even be a tool, like we kind of talked about before, for people that do these jobs. Like in my job, full time, like we're a big business. We're an enterprise. $40 a month is a drop in the bucket, and that would help me. I think that's kind of why I'm like, oh man, this is really cool, because I'm looking at it like that. I think I could use that. That could help me.
Well, I have to say this. When you're looking at these tools, that's, I'll give you like an example here. So, and this is sort of related, but I spent a lot of time, for instance, I captained a tennis team, and I sent a lot of emails back and forth to people, and had a couple of friends turn me on to an app that we use, and it's $10 for a season. And, I initially was like, oh, well, I'll just do it myself, but then you really think about it in the, grand scheme of things, you spend way more time. You spend more than $10 to manage that. So it's worth putting $10 into something.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with all these tools. If you can find a tool, and this is the way you get ahead. If you can find a tool that will help free you up so you can do the things that you are most passionate about, that's what you should focus on doing. You don't need to get too many tools, but you need to get enough to where, they're able to take care of one task and you can pass that on to someone else. You still run your business and you still are, moving things ahead. So
agreed. And last tool.
Okay, so last tool. This is actually, so I put this up here because this is actually tying into Facebook. It's called Cinemagram Pro. And the reason why I mentioned this is because you can create Facebook profile. You can basically create your animated Facebook profiles and so forth with this. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Cinemagraph, okay, so it's called Cinemagraph. Sorry, my bad. But basically, what Cinemagraphs are, they're a way for you to create a still frame of something and then animate something around it. So, for example, I could be standing right here and I could be doing this, and I can be completely still, and you can freeze frame the whole rest of me and just have this one particular item moving. So what Cinemagraph Pro does is it allows you to basically capture that particular piece of content. It's basically a video, and you freeze things on a particular frame, and you can do it for all sorts of really cool things. But you can do all of this from your iPhone, which is actually really neat. So in this case, it's iPhone related. But that's Cinemagraph Pro, and they also have a desktop version, so it's not just for iPhone or for using it for Facebook, but it's a great way for you to create a piece of content, whether it's something for your profile. You can use it to create things that go into your Twitter channel and so forth for your business. But that's the last tool I want to share with everybody. So I personally like using Cinemagraph or creating Cinemagraphs. I've done them before for a number of other things. So it's a very handy tool for mobile. Let me see. As far as Android, let me actually see if they have an Android version.
Oh, of that app?
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, you Android peeps, man, you guys get you get shafted all the time. Except, did you see Snapchat's little update only for Android users this week?
Was that the motion tracking?
Yeah, the emojis. The emojis.
Oh, was it that one or okay? Because I know they did. They also have a motion tracking feature.
Well, wasn't it the same like where you can put an emoji? Like
yeah.
You take a snap and then the emoji follows with your face.
And I'm very familiar with motion tracking because I actually do that a lot in my YouTube videos that I do. And so, if you're ever moving and you want something to follow you, that's motion tracking. Mm-hmm. But I do all my editing and Final Cut and stuff. So you can check out. So if you are on Android, let's see. So let me see what's available. There's one called Photodons, Fotodanz. Let me see what else. There's actually not too many, but Photodons is one, and then there's also. Let me see if this one's Victorio.
Georgia said she has a Windows phone. I don't know, Georgia. If you're managing, if you're doing stuff in social media, you may want to think about, for the business at least, having even an iPhone just for that purpose. I made a terrible mistake. That's okay. You can rectify it. It's okay. It's okay. You can always come away from the dark side. It's all right.
Yeah. So I'd actually recommend checking out those tools.
What's the one that the photo again for Erica's life there?
Oh, I put it in there. It's called Photodons, Fotodanz.
Where is it?
Fotodanz. Here, I'll actually get a link to it.
Yeah. Just pop it in the window.
There you go.
Should work.
Yeah, so there's an Android app. I can't vouch for it. I can't tell you how good it is. If it works well or not, or if if it meets Android standards, I guess. But give that one a try. And you also might want to check out. Let me see. That one's a live photo one. Okay, so I'd recommend starting with that one. But with that, do you have anything else? I don't think we have any more topics. We covered a lot today.
Do not.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, to everybody, thank you so much for joining this week's Blab. I'm going to put a couple of links here for you. So if you want to subscribe to next week's show, we already got a link ready for you. All you have to do is go there and subscribe. And this way we'll notify you what some of the topics are that we're going to cover. for the following week. And also, if you want to actually text Social Chatter to 33444, that will actually get you on our email list so that we can notify you when we're ready to publish new topics. And I'll also send you a link back to the show as well. Sorry, back to the blog post for this week's show, because basically I'm going to put a blog post together that'll go up tomorrow. So Matt, absolutely, yes, that is Lead Digits. So basically you can send me a text and it will put you into an email list. So, but aside from that, what else do we have here? Anything else? That's it. I'm just reading something.
No, I'm good. Thanks everybody for joining in.
Melissa, yes, we are. We're ending the show. We start at 5. Try to keep it to 45 minutes. Today we went a little over, but lots of great conversation and discussion with everyone. So I invite everybody to come back next week, next Thursday, 5 p.m. We're going to have, a lot of stuff to talk about. So we will see you all. Have a great evening, and there will be a blog post recap going out. So be sure to follow us on Twitter.
Thanks, guys. Every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, Eastern time. Actually, good point.
Yep.
Thanks.
Later.